So it's officially fall. I actually had to turn on my heater in my car this morning. So as I was coming up here, and I thought, oh, that feels so good. Isn't it? I thought, summer, we were hot and you try to get cool. Whereas with winter, of course, we're always trying to get warm. And I think I like being in control of that. That to me just resonates. So it's fall, y'all. And I'm really excited about all that is going to be happening and all the stuff that is coming around, and of course watching the leaves fall and life begin again. And it's the one thing I love about fall is you can really see the cycle of life. You really can. So all this build up, and then all of a sudden everything drops. But it's just a beautiful time of year. And so what I want to continue this morning is our conversation about fear. And this morning my talk is called Facing Everything and Rethinking. So what does that mean when we face everything and we rethink? Well, what happens is we've come to that part in our lives where whatever is in front of us or whatever is bothering us, we go, okay, I'm putting y'all on pause because I need to think about this. I need to know more about this before I start flying around the room wondering, what am I going to do about this? Or I have no solution. What it is. It's that pause that we take and we say, okay, I know that I'm bigger, or actually, my God, my divine self is bigger than whatever's in front of me. And I also know that there is also a solution to whatever is bugging me and keeping me up at night and whatever else it does. Makes us drink more coffee. But what happens, I know for me it does, but what happens is we actually come into our divine self and we say, self, I know, whatever it is, that there is a divine solution. There is a solution to whatever it is, and I know that I will be present and I will be shown whatever it is that I need to know. And you know what happens? We do. We get that. We get that solution, and then we think, oh, yes, that's what it should have been. But the whole time, what happens is when we're in a fear mode, we get in front of ourselves. We get into that block mode of we don't let anything in because we have to fix it. We feel that we have to control it instead of saying, you know what, God, you got this. I don't want it, but I do want to know what's going to happen. And what happens is we do. We are able to have that ability to know what the right action is. And so Michael Benner, he said this about fearless intelligence. He says, most dictionaries define fear as uncomfortable, tense feelings triggered by danger, real or imagined, but more precisely, fear indicates confusion, ignorance, and lack of awareness or understanding. You think? It does. Because what happens is, again, we get all clouded in our thinking and we are irrational. And what we do is we start telling ourselves stories. Oh, I know this is going to happen. Are you sure? Did you look at your crystal ball in the morning and make sure that that's what exactly the story and how it was going to end? Humankind has been given a gift. And many of us are not aware of this, and it's actually called self-awareness. And what self-awareness is what I talked about just a few minutes ago, where we stop. We put everything on pause, and we really think and feel about what is going on in our life. And what happens is we now become the observer. We step outside of the problem or the issue, and we're able to say, okay, it's over here, and now I'm going to look at you and see if you're really that scary. Are you really that scary to me? Oh, no, I can deal with this. That's not a problem. Oh, yeah, I know exactly what to do. And then all of a sudden, you start having this wonderful feeling of calm, and that you know that all is done and all is good. You know, it's also called what we call discernment, where we are able to, and I love this, you know, of course we've talked about judgment, but in a different tense, where we're able to judge and judge well the situation. We're able to get out of the emotions such as anger, worry, judgment, selfishness, shame, loneliness, and uncertainty, and take back our power. And in that power, we're able to be calm and say, I got this. I have this. So I want to ask you a couple of questions. So how do we evict fear from our consciousness? That's probably why you're all here. But how do we evict fear from our consciousness? And the other question is, or how do we control our emotions when our experience is unknown? Oh, that great thing called unknown. That's why we get so upset, is because we don't know what's going to happen. So we fear it because, again, we're predicting the future. So why do we have to predict the future? Why can't we just accept and know that all is done in the mind of God, which is our mind, and all this wonderful stuff? Well, J.R.R. Tolkien, which I'm sure most of you would know, the Hobbit series, you know, the Lord of the Rings, all that, he said this: a man that flies from his fear may find that he has only taken a shortcut to meet it. Yeah, I know. So what happens is when we I know, we zoom right in on it. And it goes, oh, hi, I've been waiting for you. You know, that kind of thing. But what happens is when we experience an emotion of fear, we can be proactive. Yes. So you can be in control. We allow it to tell us what it is, listen to what it wants to tell us, and learn from it. And then we send it back into its room where it came from. But it's all in the listening. It's all in the listening of what has been triggered, what is within us that is creating this emotion. So we allow it to tell us, well, this is where it comes from. This is what it comes from, the past, the present, the future, whatever it does. But this is why you're reacting this way, is because this is what something has felt like. Marianne Williams said, love is what we are born with. Fear is what we learn. And many years ago, I saw this program on PBS, and it was about moms and their babies and teaching and kids, and I thought, wow, this is really interesting. At the time, in my other lifetime, I wanted to be a physician's assistant. So I was starting on that medical path, and so I was into pediatrics at the time. So I had to learn the psychology of children. And what I found interesting was this, and this has stuck with me for years, is they took a child, he or she was, well, maybe 6, 7 months old, you know, the type that they can sit up, and they're aware. And they put them on a clear class platform. Now, on this platform were stairs. There was no indentation for the stairs, but what was on the stairs that you could see through the glass was a teddy bear. And so what the exercise is to see if children would look to the adult for their reaction. So what happened first is, of course, there's the teddy bear on the stair. And the baby is like looking at mom like, oh, wow, oh yeah, I want the teddy. And mom is going, oh, you know. So she's doing all this facially. And she's looking down at the teddy bear. And she's, you know, reacting. And the baby all of a sudden looks at the teddy bear, looks at mom, looks at the teddy bear and goes, oh. And then it starts crying. Yeah, it was afraid. So the next section that they did, same child, I don't know when they did it, but same situation. This time the toy was different. Then what they did is they had mom absolutely have no reaction. And so the baby is going, oh, I know this, started crawling forward. And each time it crawled forward, it kept looking at mom. And mom was just like, deadpan, no emotion whatsoever. And the baby all of a sudden went like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. Oh, wow, I see there's a toy there. Happy as ever, laughing, giggling, and gets to the end where the mom is. And I thought, isn't that interesting? How we react actually is instrumental into somebody else's learning. And I thought, wow. And that's why I wanted to bring it up this morning, is because we are. We're taught in some instances in our lives to be afraid. Instead of taking the wheel and saying, no, I got this, and I know I can do this. I don't have to be afraid of whatever it is. When we feel that we're in the dark, when we're actually afraid, the light of infinite intelligence always lights the way to the truth that sets us free. Our spiritual practice, whether it be meditation or walking or whatever it is accepting and practicing daily our oneness. Our consciousness in that spirit that we know that divine energy will always take care of us. We have to trust it. That is the biggest word, is trust, is letting go and letting God, letting spirit, whatever you want to call it. We hand over our life to spirit and we say, take the wheel because I'm tired of driving this. And it does, and it will. But again, there's that small little word called trust. Any situation is important for us right now because whatever we think, unfortunately, thoughts are things. So we can manifest. So if we tell ourselves a story about whatever's going on in our life, what kind of ending do you think you're going to have? The ending that you are creating. I don't know about you, but I like fairy tales. I like happy endings. So what happens is I tell myself this or something better. And whatever I need to know from this situation is going to tell me. But I just need, as I said earlier, put myself on pause and allow everything to just let go and tell me what it is I need to know. You know, it's funny, the Bible says, let there be light. And so what happens is we allow that in by stepping out of the darkness and in that trust. Light is actually wisdom. And it is a collection of past experiences brought to this moment and then applied to a manner that allows it being that divine self and ours, to affect the future. Light is always present, even in our darkest moments. You know that this thing called a hallway exists in our life, where we walk down this long, dark hallway sometimes in our lives when things aren't really going or moving, and we say, okay, there's got to be a door or a window somewhere. And we sit or we stand in that hallway what seems like forever. But what's really happening is the infinite and the self-awareness is occurring. Things are going on. We're just not listening. So what happens is when we actually sit and we listen and we allow the powers to be and we say, okay, I'm handing my life over, all of a sudden, oh, there goes a window. Oh, there goes a door. And we're allowed to walk through those, or if you want to, you can climb through the window.
And sometimes there's a trap door.
Yes. I love that. Maria just said sometimes there's a trap door. Yes, there is, which we can fall through. But we fall on our feet, like true metaphysicians that we are. So yes. So Ernest Holmes said, I love that, thank you. Ernest Holmes said, to overcome fear is the greatest adventure of the mind of humankind. So the high road to the soul is to venture beyond the confining walls of our own certainties, where fear awaits to teach us just how strong and resilient we are. What I know is that one person can do it. Well, why can't we all? So we have been on an adventure. Actually, this whole beautiful spiritual community has been on an adventure for the last, let's see, I've been here, 10 months? And a lot has happened, and a lot in the 10 months. And I understand that when shifts and change occur in a community, it's scary because we don't know, we don't have that crystal ball that I talked about earlier, and we don't know really for sure things. All we can do is take a leap of faith and say, I know that God's got us. I know that the divine has us. I know that whatever we're walking into and through is in love. And so what I'd like to introduce you all to, and what has been now going on, it's no longer a rumor because we just published it in our newsletter. And if you would like a copy of the newsletter, please sign up in the hallway there, and you can now be on the newsletter list. So what I want to tell you all today comes from love. And it also comes from faith, enlightenment, and all kinds of other growth opportunities that I call, yes, another fine growth opportunity. That's what it's all about for not only myself, but for all of us. And so what has been going on the last 4 or 5 months is that Unity, or actually Dr. Jonathan Zenz and I have been in a conversation. But before I tell you about that, Jonathan and I met back in February as a new minister here. And what happened is we formed a wonderful friendship. And we were like, wow, this is awesome. Why aren't we working together more? And we decided that that's what we were going to do. Because here we are, these two wonderful New Thought communities that both want to expand and become really good neighbors together. So we have, the two of us, created a most amazing friendship and relationship as ministers. And so in that developing friendship, we have come to an amazing, realization that we can help each other. And in that help, and this is, it's hard. It's wonderful, but it's hard. And I'm trying to stay focused. So what happened is we've been in conversation the last 4 or 5 months about renting. I'm going to be very clear with my words so nobody jumps to conclusions. We are in the conversation of possibly renting space from Camino Blanco, also known as the Unity campus. Unity has 18 acres that they want to share with us. And so what that invitation looks like is that we would have office space. So we will be, just to make this very clear, we will be separate, okay? Because unfortunately what's happened is there's things where people think that we're joining. No, we are separate. Okay, so we're going to be renting office space, and we're also going to be renting sanctuary space on Sunday. So what does that mean for all of us? Well, it means the possibility of CSLT moving to the Unity campus. I'm going to give you a small list. LTW has been an awesome experience here. And it will be sad for us to have to move on. But what is being called, and what I have noticed as your minister, is there is a very big need for fellowship afterwards and potlucks. I've been hearing all kinds of things about potlucks. And yes, and special events for holiday, activities. We need a space for that. There's stadium, there's stadium seating here, which we love, but it's all one level there. So no one has to climb stairs. What I love is our musicians, and I use this word. They don't have to schlep their stuff back and forth. It's like Chris, oh my God. Every Sunday he has to break down this beautiful mass of drums and percussion. Okay? Can you think all he has to do is show up with his sticks and his brushes? I mean, and then James and Michael, all they have to do is plug in, and they're on. You know, and we'll have our own, our own annex that we can have classes, and the classes will have up-to-date technical video where we can, we can stream whenever we want to, and I can go on and on and on. And we also have privileges with the Labyrinth, and we will have Harmony Hall. And the other thing is that we are seriously looking at a time. So all of you early birds, we're going to be shifting to 11 o'clock. So you get to sleep in a little bit. At least that is what the conversation is right now. So 11 o'clock is going to be maybe a possibility for when we would meet. And I can't even tell you how flexible Unity has been. The first thing that they said with Reverend Dr. Jonathan and William, who's the board president, is, how can we support you? And I said, well, we really need a good time. And he said, well, we can move to 9 or 9:30, and then that way it would give you plenty of time, at 11. So there'll be a 30-minute window of where we can either all go to meditation together, or we can all have fellowship in Harmony Hall. It's your choice. So what I'm basically telling you is that there's a lot for us to be able to go to the Camino Blanco campus. And if you all think that we're going to be absorbed by it, no, absolutely not. We will have our own signage. We will be separate but together. Dr. Jonathan and William are very adamant about us being separate. So that way there's no way that anyone can feel that we're going to be absorbed. But what we are creating, which I'm so excited about, is both the Unity Consciousness and the Centers for Spiritual Living Consciousness, is we are a new thought. We are a new thought program or philosophy, whatever you want to call it, that is going to be a beacon on the hill. And we will be expanding, both of us, hearts and minds, into the community. And I know that there's a metaphysical community up in Saddlebrook, and I'm hoping that maybe they'll come down and join us occasionally. But what it is like throwing a pebble in a pond. There's nothing but beautiful ripples that can come from this, and that we can do good work in the world. So that is what we are doing. And I know that when there's a lot of change, we can have a lot of fear. As your spiritual leader, I want each and every one of you to know that I love you, and that I would not for any reason want to put you in any type of situation where you feel less than, diminished, whatever it is. I just want us to be a beautiful, we already are. We're just going to expand a little bit more. So one last thing that I need to mention is, in order to do, well, not really in order to do this, but to facilitate this move, we are going to be required to sell our Craycroft Educational Center, which is way down on Craycroft. And the reason why we've decided to do this is because it is so far down in Tucson, and it is often difficult for everyone to go to. And so when we're up there at the the Camino Blanco campus, it will be basically 1 block away from what used to be, what is the Gregory School, but where you all used to meet. So it's within that realm. But we need to sell, or we are required to sell Craycroft so that we can move up there. Now, financially, I'm sure some of you are saying, well, what it is for us? It's basically just a lateral move financially. But we're getting fellowship, and we're getting a whole lot more, even though I am so grateful that we have had this space to be able to do our spiritual family. But as a spiritual leader, I didn't know this, but one thing on your wish list for your new minister was to grow this community, which we are, and to expand. In order to do that, we need a bigger fishbowl. So that is what myself and the board are proposing. If you have any questions at all about anything that will be happening, I'm open. My email should be on the back of the program. Please bombard me with all the emails and questions you want. We all are going to be very, very transparent about this. And please let me know your pros, your cons, whatever you're thinking, or if you want to volunteer and help us move, all of that. But I just want to say thank you. Thank you all for this amazing, beautiful spiritual community that we continue to create. And I just want to tell you that I love you. Namaste. And so it is.